Our next session is all about taking on new roles and growing roots to stretch across and connect different communities. We are beginning with the governor's new senior advisor for health and family policy, Madhu Villamiri.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Okay, y'all can do better than that. I know it's after lunch, but good. Okay, I want some shakers. Thank you to Tosco Music, y'all. That was lovely. I'm a singer, and I'm currently on hiatus because I am taking on a new role. I'm on a hiatus from my choir as I get used to a new job. So singing Lean On Me with all of you was very nourishing for me. Hopefully it was for y'all too, but thank you for having Tosco Music here. I am really inspired being here. This is not my first time at the Child Hunger Leaders. I think this is technically my third and the second in person though. So thank you to Carolina Hunger Initiative for having me return to speak at this conference that I look forward to every year. I am so inspired by the school nutrition professionals that are in the room, by DPI and DHHS leaders that are here, community nonprofits, and many of you all who advocate for our kids every single day. It's a privilege and an honor to share the stage here with many friends and colleagues. My former thesis advisor, Dr. Ammerman, I don't know where she is in the room, but she was my advisor when I was writing my thesis on nutrition security in Robeson County as a college student, and also to share the stage with my boss, Governor Josh Stein, who is here today. I'm so grateful that Governor Stein made an appearance here to really share his commitment to nutrition security for kids and families, and for recognizing that feeding our kids and making sure that no child goes hungry is one of the most important things that we can do as a society, full stop. So I'm honored that he came and that I can be here with y'all as well. Earlier this month, I joined his team as a senior advisor for health and families policy. And that means that every day I get to wake up trying to support his vision that North Carolina has the best public schools in the country, that we are supporting North Carolina families, and to ensure that North Carolinians get good health care no matter where they live. And you heard a little bit about that just now through the Healthy Opportunities Pilot. A little bit about me. I'm a native North Carolinian. I grew up in Morrisville, North Carolina, proud graduate of Wake County Public School System. I have spent much of my career in public service. Prior to joining the governor's team 3 weeks ago, I held several roles at the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. I was there for almost 7 years, where I had the great privilege of working on creating programs and advancing policies that really were focused on supporting kids, families, and historically marginalized communities, from Medicaid to childcare and early learning, public health, and most importantly, nutrition, where most recently I served as the Deputy Director of a Division of Child and Family Wellbeing at DHHS, a division that I helped establish about 3 years ago, and that brought together complementary programs, including nutrition programs like SNAP and WIC, that really serve kids and families in a holistic way. And so in my role, I worked with an amazing team of folks who are here in this room. Cynthia Irvin was on my team, and Jaquita Hicks-Smallwood, and several folks, Connie and Vernell, who you see over there, to lead several of our major nutrition programs in the state. So I oversaw the SNAP program, WIC, the Child and Adult Care Food Program, the Sunbucks program, which we launched last year, and Disaster SNAP, which we also had to operate in response to Helene, and are really, really proud of what our team was able to do. And I want to reflect a little bit about how important these programs are. These nutrition programs are a critical part of our safety net, and they're part of the fabric of our communities. And I love the theme of rooted in communities, and I wanted to think about these programs that have been around for so long and have been part of that community. Programs like SNAP, which has its humble roots as a program that started almost 85 years ago as the food stamp program of 1939 that has evolved greatly over the years, to the WIC program, which just celebrated celebrated its 50th anniversary last year, 50 years of making sure that moms and families that have young children, and I'm a mom to a 15-month-old who is taking over my house and walking everywhere, and recognizing how important it is that families have supports for their kids at a time when the brain is growing at the fastest rate that it will ever grow for children, so that they have a strong start in healthy nutrition. To the National School Lunch Act, which passed in the 1940s, and that has grown and evolved over the decades. It's incorporated stronger nutrition standards so that our kids are eating healthier food at school. I would venture to say that each of us has been touched by these programs in one way or another, whether it is us ourselves, our kids that have used the programs, whether it's a friend or family member or a neighbor. I have had people in my community who have asked me, hey, I know you run these programs at the state. Can you help me figure out how to navigate them? I know that they make a difference in people's lives every day. Because of them, 900,000 children in North Carolina don't have to worry about where they're going to eat during the day because of school meals. 250,000 women, infants, and children are able to get healthier food through the WIC program at that time that is so critical in kids' development. 1.4 million North Carolinians can put food on the table because of the SNAP program, also called Food and Nutrition Services in North Carolina. 57 million meals were served through child care centers, after-school programs, and adult care facilities through the Child and Adult Care Food Program. And many of y'all may know the after-school at-risk meal program that's a part of that. And it makes it easier for child care centers to serve healthy food to kids at child care homes or centers. And then over 1 million kids, as you've heard many times already today, but it's such a big deal that, just got to shout it out again. Over 1 million kids were able to eat during the summer because of the Sunbucks program, which we know is one of the hungriest times of the year. And we're so proud that North Carolina was one of only 3 states in the Southeast that said, yes, we're going to do this. Yes, this is important for our state. In short, we know these programs work. There is a plethora of evidence to show that they lift families out of poverty, they address hunger, they help our kids and their parents and their caregivers be healthier and do better in school. It's a win-win-win. And we know these nutrition programs make a difference in our kids' lives. During my time leading these nutrition programs at NCDHHS, I'm really, really proud of the work that our team did together in partnership with many of you that are in this room, in the educational sector, in the nonprofit sector, to strengthen our programs, because we know they work. And so we were really focused on how do we make them stronger? How do we make it so that more people can access them? So for the past 8 years, the Department of Health and Human Services, under Governor Cooper's leadership, has really been focused on buying health, not just healthcare. And I think you heard about Healthy Opportunities pilots. That theme was really central to the whole idea that we should use Medicaid not just to pay for healthcare, but also to pay for the things that we know make a difference, like food and housing and transportation in people's health. And so as I look back on my time at DHHS, I'm proud of the work that we have done, and the team that is there continues to do to make it easier to access programs like SNAP, WIC, and Sunbucks. We published a state action plan for nutrition security that really laid out our strategic roadmap in 2023, and we outlined 3 different strategic priorities for nutrition and how we wanted to move the needle on food insecurity in our state. Number 1, we wanted to increase the reach of programs like SNAP and WIC that we know work. Number 2, we wanted to build stronger connections between the healthcare system, which is often focused on trying to reduce costs, and food and getting upstream and being more preventative, and really recognizing that there's this growing movement and understanding that food is medicine. And then third, having a focus on early childhood and our youngest North Carolinians, we were really focused on increasing breastfeeding rates. So our team delivered on that work and continues to deliver on that work now at DHHS. With SNAP and WIC, we were able to use one-time American Rescue Plan Act funding and other grant funding to really modernize the SNAP and WIC programs, bring them into the 21st century. We learned a lot from the pandemic about the way that we can better reach people through virtual and remote models, themselves and help people keep their benefits longer by being able to recertify for SNAP online and not have to go into the county DSS office or mail a recertification form just to keep their benefits. And then also really worked on making the WIC program more accessible so that moms and parents with young children could contact their nutritionist through a participant portal to get tailored nutrition education that was focused on what they needed the most at that phase of life. You heard a little bit about Healthy Opportunities pilots, and in that second strategy of how we connect healthcare and food, the Medicaid team has really delivered in partnership with many healthcare systems, community-based organizations that you heard from, on investing Medicaid dollars in things that we know are saving money. There is already an independent research study from UNC that has shown that the impact of the HOP pilots is saving about $85 per person per month who are enrolled in Medicaid on healthcare costs. So about $1,000 a year, which again is not shocking given that we know these drivers of food and housing and transportation make such an impact on people's health. And then finally, our state has been making really great strides on increasing breastfeeding rates. We have been seeing breastfeeding rates go up, and DHHS is really continuing that work of helping moms and families with breastfeeding by working to stand up a 24/7 breastfeeding hotline. So no matter whether it's 2 a.m. and you're trying to get your baby to feed, you can get professional help from a lactation consultant over the phone. And I could have used one of those when I was caring for my son. And so we need to continue to do this work of using all of the levers that we have at our disposal to maximize the impact of evidence-based programs like SNAP and WIC and CACFP and Sunbucks and school meals and Medicaid that we know work, and make sure that more people who are eligible for them can access them. But as Governor Stein mentioned today, I know many of you here are likely concerned, as I am, about proposed federal cuts to several of these programs. In particular, I am really concerned about the proposals that are being considered right now to cut, in particular, Medicaid, SNAP, and the school meals program. I'm really concerned about some of the proposed cuts to SNAP that would propose to end a congressional permanent increase that was secured in 2021 that increased SNAP benefits. It was modest. It was taking it up from about $12 a month per person to $16 per person per month. But it was the first time that SNAP benefits had been meaningfully increased in over 50 years. And that is being considered for being cut. And when you apply those $4 extra per month to all of the members in a household, that adds up. And taking that away makes it that much harder for a parent or head of household who's at the grocery store trying to stretch their food budget. There are also proposals to expand work requirements, which we know would make it harder for a number of different groups to access and stay on SNAP so that they can have healthy food, specifically veterans, people experiencing homelessness, former foster youth, older adults under the age of 65, and households with school-aged children. These are some of the populations that are being considered to have more work requirements. And then with school meals, there are federal proposals that could cut our school breakfast and lunch by about $12 billion nationally. Proposals that would make it much harder for schools to continue community eligibility provision, which we've all heard about today. That makes such a difference in destigmatizing school meals, making it so that all kids can eat at no cost. And so this could mean that a child misses out on getting meals if their parent forgot to complete their paperwork. And our state has nearly 800 schools that are providing free meals to over 400,000 children through CEP. So some of these proposals would make it harder for kids to continue receiving those meals at no cost at a time when we've all heard it again and again. Grocery prices are rising and families are having a hard time. These programs help all of our kids. No one benefits from kids going hungry, so we all have a responsibility to advocate for the society that we want to live in. Now, I am grateful that Governor Stein is asking our federal delegation to fight for these programs, and we all share a role as well in protecting these programs. We all can be lifting up the importance of the programs that I've talked about here, destigmatizing them so that people know that it's our friends and our families and it's our own family members who are using these programs, and helping tell the story of how they impact kids and families' lives on a daily basis. I want to echo Governor Stein's message of hope and keeping the faith because of you all who are working day in and day out to make a difference in children's lives, to have the food and resources that they need to thrive in their schools, in their homes, and in their communities. Governor Stein already touched on some of the policy changes and wins to really address some of the school meal barriers, like eliminating copays for reduced price meals in 2023 that our legislators made permanent, and prohibiting schools from not letting kids graduate because they have school meal debt. And those are very, very important. I also want to touch on the fact that our state legislators appropriated recurring funds to have incentives for more schools to participate in community eligibility provision, which we know is helping schools participate in this program. These actions taken together show respect and dignity for our students, to not be defined by school meal debt or to be penalized for having accrued school meal debt, and to recognize the value of investments in school nutrition as a tool to build our communities and our leaders for the future. So being in this room, it gives me hope. Thank you for singing with me earlier today. That really, really nourished my soul. I know that we all together will continue to fight to end child hunger, to advance policies that protect the dignity of our students, of our teachers, of our community members who all want to see our kids thrive. Thank you for everything you do to make healthy food accessible for kids and families in North Carolina. It's an honor to be with you all today.
Thank you, Madhu. Next, we have someone who has been rooted in the school nutrition community for more than 32 years, currently as the school nutrition supervisor for Henderson County Schools. She is also currently branching out as the 2024-2025 president of the School Nutrition Association of North Carolina. Please welcome Stephanie Hall.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's so good to see all these faces in here. I bring greetings from the School Nutrition Association of North Carolina. If my school nutrition colleagues would stand up just 1 minute and let me see you. I know there are a lot of you in the room. Everybody, please look at these faces. These are the faces that the children see every day. And those children are the beneficiaries of these partnerships that we're able to make here in this room and outside. And we are so thankful and so blessed for those partnerships and for all of you who put your lives out there for these children to make sure our children are well fed and well taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Next, please welcome Bridget Harper Reed, culinary instructor at Northern High School, Durham Public Schools. Of course.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, it's so good to see all you faces. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Bridget Harper Reed, and I was born in Fairfax, Virginia, and I lived in Southern Maryland, which are a cluster of small towns, which was next door to Washington, D.C. We moved to Holly Springs, North Carolina in December 1989 so that my mother could help my grandmother take care of my grandfather and my great-grandmother. I graduated from North Carolina Central University in 2004 with a degree of business administration, concentration, and management. I also went to the Art Institute of Raleigh-Durham, where I received my culinary degree. It all started with the garden days in the Carolinas. I thought that we had the biggest garden in Holly Springs. My grandmother, Dolores Nars, who my grandfather, James Nars, would call her Doe, would get up really early at the crack of dawn to go to the garden. She would walk back home with a basket full of purple hub peas that me and my great-grandmother would shell. My grandfather would unload his truck with bushels of peas, corn, tomatoes, okra, you name it. It was on the front porch. Until this day, no one in my family likes to shell any kind of peas. And the one that I just did not like were the purple hub peas because they would turn your fingers purple. So my love and passion for cooking came from my grandmother Doe. She took the time to show me step by step how to put the recipe together. My grandmother also showed me how to do canning, homemade jellies, vegetables that we would put away in the freezer for the winter, and bacon was her specialty. Everything that we ate was fresh because it came from the garden, and to see my family enjoy everything prepared was awesome. Now, my mother, Darlene Bowden, who has accompanied me today, can cook, but does not have the patience like my grandmother Doe. I am currently a chef at Northern High School, which this is my first year teaching. Before I became a culinary teacher, oh, you have pictures. Awesome, sorry. Thank you, okay. Before I became a culinary teacher, I was working with Durham Public Schools in child nutrition as a manager for 18 years. I love the kids and I love working with food and creating different recipes to taste. But when I cook, my secret ingredient is my love. For me, my grandmother, Dolores Nars, whom I got my middle name from, which is Delores, has given me a lot of life lessons and who has made and shaped me into the woman that I have become. She was my hero alongside my mother in many ways, and I thank them for everything that they have taught me, and I love them with all my heart and soul. Now, before I close, let's take a ride on the history train about my heritage and who helped mold and shape Chef Harper. My grandfather, James Nars, who was a World War II veteran, who owned his own brick mason business and became the first African-American mayor for the town of Holly Springs. Wow. His wife, my grandmother, Dolores Nars, who was a cafeteria manager for Wake County Public Schools for 33 years. My grandfather's niece, Desime Wumble, who served under his leadership, made history as well. She became the first Black female chief of police in the state of North Carolina and the town of Holly Springs chief of police. My mother, Darlene Bowden, retired from Wake County Sheriff's Office as a master deputy specializing in domestic violence. I have two twin sisters, Brandy and Brene, and one niece, Makala, who attends UNCG. Now, the highlights of Northern Culinary. As you see, we did a vegan competition, and the kids enjoyed it. We are competing in the junior chef competition, which we will win this year like we did last year. I just spoke it up, we gonna win it. The students are creating recipes from scratch, from top to bottom, and we are working to create a Northern High School culinary cookbook. We are working on a culinary newsletter to highlight the students as they do things. Every event that we have, or every catering event, it can be weddings, is all student-led. And we also work with Durham Public Schools, like different schools. Like I know in March, we're working with one of the elementary schools, and they're coming to us, and we're going to show them how to cook, and they get to eat it as well. So with all that being said, that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bridget.